What is regarded as the traditional circus first appeared in 18th century London with performing horses and people. As new worlds were explored during the next century, all manner of animals were snatched from the wild to be paraded in chains and small cages before an amazed public. But after a century that has seen man on the moon, mass media, global travel becoming commonplace, and an explosion in the understanding of wildlife, it's hard to believe that wretched animals are still in chains and living on the backs of lorries to amuse us. Every year, thousands of animals, including horses, lions, elephants, tigers, baboons, indeed almost any animal you can imagine, are on the move across Europe. These travelling menageries may cover thousands of miles, carrying animals from site to site. Home is necessarily temporary. Whatever can be quickly dismantled and moved at the end of the week. A cage on a lorry, a short rope or chains tied to a spike in the ground, a stall in a tent, or if an animal is particularly fortunate and space permits, a small electric fenced enclosure. Almost entirely ignored by national, international and European legislation or regulation, this is a world that time has simply passed by. A sad and pathetic relic of the past, a spectacle that demeans us as spectators, as well as the animals going through their routines. The Captive Animals Protection Society have monitored touring circuses and are campaigning for a ban on this archaic misery. It's morning at the circus and the animals are already awake as the workers begin to stir. The elephants stand in a tent, chained by a front leg and a hind leg, able to shuffle a pace or two forwards or to stand up or lie down. Most of the time this is the extent of their entire world. They stand on large metal or wooden boards. With nothing else to do, if these were not there, they would surely dig up the ground. The boards are soaked with urine and piled with excrement. Naturally, elephants are extremely social, living in large groups or herds, and in the wild travel an average of 25 kilometers per day. By this time in the morning, they would have been on the move for hours. They might already have travelled many kilometres, eating, drinking, bathing and socialising. Back in the circus tent, they will have been chained like this for at least 12 hours, since the last performance ended. Later in the morning, some animals might be allowed out into small enclosures, but this will depend on the circus site, the weather, the circus, and besides they will have to be confined again to be made ready to perform in the show. In the wild, the lions and tigers are kings and queens of all they survey. Natural predators, fast, agile and designed to hunt. But on the circus site, home is a rudimentary cage on the back of a lorry known as a beastwagon. There is nothing majestic here. The cage is little wider than the length of each animal's body. The floor is wood or metal with a scattering of straw for bedding. They will spend most, if not all, of their time here. If space permits, they might have an exercise cage for part of the day. But such cages are far smaller than the name suggests, and time in them will be limited. They will need to be back in the wagon, ready for the first performance, and they will be fed in the wagon. It is not just the wild animals that are frustrated and confined here. Dogs are generally not kept as pets, but more like zoo animals. Naturally, horses and ponies will gallop, play, and are extremely social, living in herds. With the circus, they spend almost their entire time tethered, or in stalls which will often not allow socialising or mutual grooming. Exercise space is inevitably very limited. And the travelling circus menagerie may be home